Greetings fellow humans, my name is AntzHome, and in this video I will talk about why ants are interesting. When you see an ant, you might not be that amazed by it. 6 legs, 1 head, 2 body parts, just a normal insect. And indeed, on their own they don't seem that interesting. But together, as a colony, they are probably one of the most unique organisms on Earth. With over 20,000 species of ants, this creature has conquered almost all corners of the globe, being one of the most successful organisms on the entire planet. But why are ants so successful? A simple answer: their social structure. Ants have the best social structure of all insects. And in an ant colony, it isn't every ant for themselves. They work together as one. They think as one. When one worker ant has discovered a viable food source, the entire colony will know it in a matter of minutes, spreading the news through thousands of workers. When an organism has reached this kind of level of being social, then it is an ant colony with thousands of workers, but one superorganism. Now you might be wondering, if one ant knows something and in the next couple of minutes everyone knows it, then how do they communicate? I'll tell you that. Ants communicate through something known as pheromones. This is a chemical substance that ants can disperse from their abdomen, which is this body part. They do this by tapping the ground with their abdomen as they walk by a path where they want to lay down their pheromones. Pheromones are invisible for the naked eye, and only ants can sense them. These pheromones are very useful, and they can put out about 20 signals. For example, when there's a potential predator near the colony, an ant will release a pheromone that will go a bit like, "Hey girls, there's a threat outside of the nest," and the colony will then send workers towards there to defend their nest. Another great example is when an ant has found food. First, it'll make a pheromone trail from the food source to the colony. Then, another worker will send this trail and make her own trail on top of it. This process continues, and eventually there's a very strong pheromone trail, which now many workers will follow to gather the food and bring it back to the nest. You probably have seen this yourself when you see a long line of ants marching right behind each other. And there are many more ways that ants use their pheromones. But this isn't the only interesting thing about ants. Another interesting fact about ants is the great diversity between species. Almost every species has their own characteristics. Take for example, leafcutter ants. These ants are native to South America, and these ants are completely vegetarian. They don't eat insects like all the other ants do. No. They cut leaves with their mandibles, and they grow these leaves on the ground where it becomes fungus. This fungus is the only thing that these ants eat, and if the fungus dies, the whole colony dies. This shows that humans weren't the first organisms to be farming. It were the ants, farming fungus made out of leaves. Another interesting species are Asian Marauder ants. These ants grow colonies super fast. But the most amazing thing about them? They have different castes of workers, ranging from tiny worker ants to giant super majors, that are used as bosses by the tiny workers. These ants are known as the soldiers of the colony, although they can also be referred to as majors, with the biggest of the soldiers being known as super majors. These soldiers live in the colony to cut up food or cut through the thick exoskeleton of an insect. Many species of ants have soldiers, but also many species don't. When a certain species has majors, they are referred to as polymorphic. Another great example are Dracula ants. There are many species of Dracula ants, but they all have a couple of the same characteristics. They can't consume solid food, so they bring their larvae to the food source, and when the larvae are done eating, the workers make a wound in the larvae with their mandibles to then drink their blood. If I would name every single ant species that has an interesting characteristic, I would probably sit here for another couple of days. Moving on to something else. If ants are so successful, they must have a very special way of breeding. And they do. Ants breed through a way known as a nuptial flight. Basically, when a colony is about 2 years old, it will start producing winged alates. There are 2 alates to tell apart, male alates and female alates. These female alates are technically virgin antqueens. When it is just the right temperature and it is humid enough outside, the ants will fly out of the nests. This perfect day is different for every ant species. The male and female alates will then take off to mate with other colonies of the same species, who have also started a nuptial flight. The females then mate with as many males as possible, collecting as much sperm as possible to produce workers for the next couple of years. And when I say a couple of years, I don't mean 2 or 3 years, because some queens can live up to 30 years. After they have mated, the males all die, fulfilling their only purpose in life. The queens, however, shed their wings, and will then find a suitable place to start a colony and grow an empire. Although many queens won't make it, a lot of other queens do, and when they are 2 to 3 years old, the cycle will start all over again. And that is why ants are so successful. I hope that I changed your opinion a bit about ants, because in the next video I will talk about the hobby of ant keeping. So subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to immediately know when I upload something. And I'll see you in the next video.